Welcome to Hollywood Latest Reports. In a moment no one saw coming, Pastor Loren Larson opened his heart during a live service and delivered a confession that sent shockwaves through the entire congregation and across online Christian communities. What began as a simple sermon turned into one of the most emotional and vulnerable moments of his ministry, centered around his long, complicated, and deeply human relationship with Bishop Gary Lewis. For years, the public saw both men as strong voices in their respective ministries, leaders who rarely revealed their personal burdens or emotional struggles. But this time, Loren stepped into the pulpit with a heaviness that couldn't be disguised. What followed was a raw, soul-bearing confession that left the church silent, the worship team in tears, and thousands of viewers stunned. This is the full story behind the confession, why it shook everyone who heard it, and how the message has already begun reshaping conversations within the Christian community. A tense history no one spoke about publicly. For years, rumors circulated quietly about tension between Loren Larson and Bishop Gary Lewis. Nothing explosive, just the typical ministry misunderstandings, disagreements about preaching styles, and differences in approach to leadership. Both men remained respectful in public, but insiders often sensed unresolved distance. Bar times when they avoided joint events per sermons that sounded indirectly pointed, bar moments where collaboration felt strained. Yet neither man spoke openly about the emotional toll their fractured connection had taken. That silence ended the moment Loren approached the pulpit last Sunday. The atmosphere changed before he even spoke. Church members said they could sense the shift immediately. Loren didn't carry his usual confident stride. His Bible was pressed against his chest. His voice, normally steady and commanding, trembled as he greeted the congregation. Even before he began, many felt something extraordinary was about to happen. He paused, he swallowed hard, and then he said the words no one expected. "I need to confess something today. I need to speak about Bishop Gary Lewis, and I should have said this a long time ago." The entire church froze. "I let my pride decide things my heart never wanted." Loren began by sharing a story that stretched back years, moments of misunderstanding, unspoken offense, and assumptions that hardened into distance. He admitted things people rarely hear pastors confess. He misinterpreted something Bishop Lewis had said during a conference. He carried hurt he never addressed. He pulled back emotionally, assuming Bishop Lewis had changed. He allowed pride to replace honest conversation. Then came the part that broke the room. "I allowed a single moment, one conversation taken the wrong way, to define a man's intention for years. I judged his silence as rejection. I judged his busyness as indifference, and I was wrong." People gasped. Others covered their faces. Some began crying quietly. This wasn't just ministry talk. This was a vulnerable man admitting that emotional walls had cost him a valuable relationship. Bishop Gary Lewis had no idea. According to Loren's confession, Bishop Gary Lewis was unaware of the internal conflict Loren had battled for years. "He kept reaching out. He kept inviting me. He showed kindness I didn't return. And still, he never changed his spirit toward me." Loren described Bishop Lewis as gracious, patient, and consistently respectful, even when he didn't receive the same energy in return. The confession painted a picture of a man who loved deeply but silently, choosing unity even when unity wasn't reciprocated. Why the confession happened now? Loren shared the moment that triggered his breakthrough, a private prayer session where he felt convicted about carrying unresolved offense. "God asked me, 'Why are you holding on to what I never asked you to carry?' And I broke. I realized I had built a wall nobody asked me to build." He said he felt compelled to confess, not to expose, not to dramatize, but to heal. And healing begins with honesty, the power of ministry ego, a topic rarely addressed. One of the most powerful aspects of Loren's confession was his willingness to expose something many leaders hide, the battle with ego. He explained, "Leaders often feel pressure to appear unbothered. They bury hurt instead of discussing it. They blame others instead of facing internal insecurities. They build distance instead of seeking reconciliation." It was a brutally honest moment that resonated deeply with pastors, evangelists, teachers, and layworkers watching online. This wasn't a scandal. It was a deeply human truth about emotional pride in leadership. "I should have defended him, not misjudged him." Another emotional moment came when Loren admitted he misread Bishop Lewis during a difficult period in his ministry. He revealed, "There were moments he was fighting battles I never knew about. And instead of standing beside him, I stood at a distance." His voice broke. The congregation broke with him. The humility in that admission drew praise even from critics who rarely agree with him. Social media erupted within minutes. How Bishop Gary Lewis responded. Though Bishop Gary Lewis wasn't physically present during the confession, his reaction came later through a brief message posted online. Instead of defensiveness, he responded with grace. "I love my brother." His courage today is a reminder of what ministry is truly about, restoration, not perfection. His message ended with a call for unity and forgiveness, something both men had preached separately but now embodied together. The public immediately recognized how rare such maturity is in today's environment. Church members described the moment as electric, holy, and transformational. People in attendance described the atmosphere in powerful terms. "You could feel the Holy Spirit so strongly. I've never seen Loren so vulnerable." It felt like something supernatural happened in that moment. Even those who had no idea there were tensions between the two leaders said the confession opened their eyes to the hidden emotional strain many pastors carry. Why this moment hit so hard? This confession resonated because it touched on universal human struggles. Miscommunication, pride, hurt feelings, assumptions, walls built out of fear, friendships damaged unintentionally. Everyone has lived some version of that story. Seeing a well-known pastor speak, it publicly created a sense of collective healing. A message to every believer: go and heal what you broke. Loren ended his confession with a challenge to every person listening. If you're holding something against someone, even silently, go make it right. Don't wait years the way I did. His voice was shaky, his hands trembled, but the conviction was unmistakable. This moment wasn't about publicity, it wasn't about sensationalism, it was about liberation. The online reaction, shock, respect, and a wave of support. Within hours, clips of the confession spread on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Comments poured in. "This is what real leadership looks like. I gained more respect for him today than in all his years of preaching. We need more honesty like this in the church." The confession didn't damage his reputation, it strengthened it. People hunger for authenticity, and Loren delivered it in a raw, unforgettable way. What this means for the future of their ministry. Observers believe this moment could mark a new season for both men. Potential impacts: renewed collaborations, restored friendship, joint prayer events, deeper unity between ministries, healing within the broader community. What seemed like a moment of embarrassment transformed into one of the most powerful demonstrations of grace the church has seen in years. A final reflection: imperfect leaders, perfect grace. Loren Larson's confession wasn't about scandal, it was about humanity. It reminded believers that pastors hurt too. Ego can destroy relationships. Silence can create distance. Assumptions can break unity. Healing requires humility. And most importantly, no one is beyond restoration. The moment shocked everyone, not because it exposed wrongdoing, but because it revealed truth. Raw truth, painful truth, healing truth. And the church will be talking about it for a long, long time. In the days following Loren Larson's emotional confession, something remarkable began happening quietly within the ministry. Staff members, worship leaders, volunteers, and longtime church members started approaching one another to settle old misunderstandings. What began as Loren's personal moment grew into a community-wide movement of healing. One staff member shared anonymously, "I didn't realize how many small hurts I was carrying. When Pastor Loren apologized publicly for something people didn't even know about, it made me think about the things I've been holding on to for years." Another choir member said she reached out to someone she'd been avoiding for months. Others admitted that years-old conflicts resurfaced in their hearts as Loren spoke, but instead of burying them again, they finally decided to address them. The confession didn't just affect the audience emotionally, it changed behavior. That's why this moment is being called one of the most important turning points in Loren's ministry. Leadership experts comment on why this moment mattered. Ministry experts, counselors, and Christian authors have already started analyzing the impact of Loren's confession. Many say the vulnerability he demonstrated is rare among religious leaders, who are often expected to maintain an image of strength and stability at all times. Dr. Melissa Hartman, a Christian leadership consultant, explained, "Christians admire strong leaders, but relatable leaders are the ones who change lives." Loren's confession bridged that gap in a powerful way. People saw a man admitting struggle, and that created a model for emotional honesty. Other pastors echoed the same thought, noting that churches frequently emphasize forgiveness, but rarely show what it looks like in real time from the pulpit, without filters or rehearsed statements. Loren didn't present a script, he presented his heart, and that authenticity made the moment historic. The emotional ripple effect on Bishop Gary Lewis's congregation. What surprised many observers was the reaction from Bishop Gary Lewis's own supporters. Instead of frustration or confusion, there was celebration. Many saying they always sensed something unspoken between the two leaders and were relieved to see clarity and healing. One leader from Bishop Lewis's ministry said, "This wasn't about blame. This was about honesty. Bishop Lewis has always spoken highly of Loren, and now we finally get to see the other side of that story." Some members said they cried hearing the confession clip online, explaining that it cleared away years of speculation about the nature of the distance between the two men. Instead of stirring division, the confession inspired unity. The deeper message: ministry leaders are human too. Perhaps the most important takeaway from this moment is a renewed understanding of the emotional weight leaders carry. Many churchgoers forget that pastors are not immune to human weakness, misunderstandings, or insecurity. They struggle like everyone else, but have fewer safe spaces to talk about it. Loren's decision to confess openly cracked open a conversation many churches avoid. What are we expecting our leaders to carry that they shouldn't? The confession awakened compassion among listeners. Instead of seeing Loren as weak, they saw him as real. Instead of viewing the situation as dramatic, they saw it as healing. And in today's world, where division spreads faster than grace, that kind of openness is rare. A new chapter begins for both ministries. While time will reveal how Loren Larson and Bishop Gary Lewis move forward, one thing is certain: the path toward reconciliation has already begun.